Hello, it's your boy Davidoff. So I didn't do a video for SummerSlam or Payback. I live streamed NXT 30, my reaction to it. And since then I missed SummerSlam and Payback. I watched them, but I think I was busy those weeks. I think I watched SummerSlam like a month late. So I didn't do a video on it because it was a bit too late. I'm going to include my brief thoughts on them though in this. Not going to spend too much time, but I'm going to give my brief thoughts because there's storylines from them that connect to Clash of Champions. In terms of SummerSlam though, I'm not going to talk about all of it, but the last few matches, Seth v Dominic was very good. Unfortunately, the Mysterio-Seth storyline has been dragging on too long. It's just gotten to the point where it's cringy now, where they've involved the whole family and with the whole buddy thing. It's just annoying to this point. I think Seth is a good heel, and he's clearly a talented wrestler, but this storyline is so dead. I just want it to end. It's just gotten worse and it's getting cringier now. But in SummerSlam, at SummerSlam, they were doing it right. And that Seth v Dominic match was really good. Like, Seth did a good job in that match of carrying Dominic through. Dominic did great for himself as well. And it was a great SummerSlam match. But everything since then, maybe not everything, but most of the things since then involving that storyline has just been cringy and just bad. They just need to give up on it, to be honest. But they're going ahead and they're making it worse. But back then, it was good. Also, there was that Sonya v Mandy match, wasn't there? That was quite good. Loser leaves WWE. Drew v Orton was good. SummerSlam, obviously. They've had a few matches since then. And then Roman came back. Obviously, I talked about The Fiend and Braun having a great storyline. And they did. Bray and Braun, from WrestleMania onwards, they had a great storyline where I just felt like to make it all worth it, they had to end it with The Fiend taking the title. And he did. They gave him that ending. Unfortunately for him, Roman Reigns came back as a heel, which was revealed on SmackDown later on. And that was great. Like, they should have turned Roman heel years ago. They didn't do it. They should have done it. That's not Roman's fault. Roman's always been talented. I know he's been hated on a lot, but he's always been talented. He's always been good enough to be main event level. They did push him too soon, but that's not his fault. That's Vince's fault. Vince is the one behind all the pushes. It wasn't really Roman's fault. But they should have turned him heel, regardless of whether he was good or not. They should have turned him heel. And thankfully, they've finally done that. And I think it's worked out great. For me, heel Roman has been part of some of the best storylines in the past few months. Like, he has been fantastic. He's been the best thing of SmackDown easily, and adding Paul Heyman to it was just fantastic. And I think his promos are better now as well. I think his promos are one of his weak points, but I think he's definitely improved. I think Heyman's kind of helped with that. But his promos are very good now. They're certainly gotten a lot better. Storylines are great, and I think heel Roman's a fantastic addition to any roster, really. But it's been a fantastic addition to the SmackDown roster, and I'm glad he came back as a heel. At first, I was like, I mean, I like the guy, but we had this great Fiend storyline. Are we ready to take him off him again because of Roman? But then I realized he's turning heel. I'm just like, you know what? I'm here for this. I'm here for this. And he's been fantastic ever since. Then Payback came along, Biggie versus Sheamus, which I quite enjoyed. These are two guys that I feel deserve to be pushed a bit more, especially Sheamus since he's back with his old character, and he's one championship away from the Grand Slam, Intercontinental. I would personally love to see him win it. I don't know if they're going to do that though, with the whole storylines going on right now, but I'm hoping, because they've kind of like, they've had him loose too many times now. Like, his return hasn't really resulted in anything, which kind of frustrates me. As for Biggie, I'm glad he's got his singles run now. I think he's a future world champion. I mean, for me, he has to win it at some point. I would love to see Biggie v Roman. Then again, I'd love to see The Rock versus Roman, but it probably won't happen. But I'd love to see Biggie win a world title. The draft is soon, I think. So if he goes to Raw, then again, there's Drew McIntyre in it. Either way, Biggie, he's got to win a world title. In the next year or two, he's got to at least have one. At least one run as world champion, because he's got it all. He's right for it. Like, he's worthy. He's definitely worthy. He needs to win that world title at some point. But yeah, that match between him and Sheamus I actually quite enjoyed. I think it was quite good. And then obviously the triple threat, the main event. I'm not going to talk about anything else in that event, but Payback I think was fine. A few good matches, a few matches that I was just like meh. But the triple threat match was pretty good. I think they obviously I've mentioned Roman. I think they've used his character really well, and how they used him in that match was excellent. So yeah, I like what they did there with Payback, that's for sure. Then there was Clash of Champions. So you had Sammy versus AJ versus Jeff in the triple threat ladder match, which I was excited for because I love ladder matches, and if it involves Jeff Hardy, it's going to be good usually. It was a good match, but it was also very bizarre, and I didn't like the way they ended it, to be honest. The ending was, I mean, it was legal, it was fine, but I felt like I wanted more from that. It just felt like an annoying way for the match to end. It was a very bizarre ending, but then again, it was quite clever, handcuffing him to the ladder. That was clever. That was clever. But I expected more from this match, to be honest. I kind of wanted more out of it, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Then you got Asuka beating Zelina Vega. I didn't expect Vega to win the title here, so I wasn't bored by it, but I'm just like, she's gonna win this, Asuka. It's pretty obvious. You can see it coming a mile off. So yeah, nothing much to say on that. Then you have Apollo Creed versus Apollo Creed. That's the Rocky character, David. Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley. Actually, speaking of Bobby Lashley, right? The Hurt Business. We got to talk about them because they are turning into a really good faction. Like, I'm really liking them. They're really growing on me. When Bobby Lashley faced Drew McIntyre, after the match, I think in my video about it, I said that down the line, I would love to see Bobby Lashley win the world title at some point, which I still want to see at some point. I think that'll be a good thing to happen sooner rather than later. But in terms of what they've done with Bobby Lashley and MVP and this whole Hurt Business thing, and Shelton and obviously Cedric as well joining, it's been brilliant. Like, they have been brilliant, taking the fight to obviously to Retribution. Yep, I think we know who they are. I mean, we don't know. I'm pretty sure Dijakovic and Mia Yim are two of them. I mean, I think it's confirmed anyway. But yeah, they've not done a good job of hiding them, to be honest. I mean, as soon as you saw that first promo from Dijakovic, you're like, yeah, that's him. It sounded like him. Tall guy. Who else would it be? But anyway, yeah, they took the fight to Retribution. I think that's quite good how they've done that. How they've done that storyline. But yeah, the Hurt Business have been one of the best things about Raw, I think, recently. I think they've been quite a good tag team. And honestly, I saw someone on Twitter say that we should have the Hurt Business against the Undisputed Era at Survivor Series. As soon as I saw that, I'm just like, yes, that's what we need. You, sir, have nailed it. We need the Hurt Business against the Undisputed Era at Survivor Series. Vince, book it, please. That would be so good. But honestly, that tag team is so good. I think adding Cedric has made it even better as well. I like the direction they've taken with that team, and hopefully they continue to make them look strong, because they have a bad habit of ruining strong pushes. But so far, so good. And then you got the Street Profits. You know, the thing with the Street Profits is they don't really... They're not bad. They're actually pretty good. But whenever I see their matches, I'm never able to get into it. I don't know, there's some wrestlers that are pretty popular, that are pretty damn talented, but when I watch them, it's just never that entertaining. And the Street Profits, I just don't get... I just don't get excited about their matches. Whenever they're fighting on Raw, I just skip, honestly. And I didn't really watch. I sort of skipped through halfway of their match at Clash of Champions, because I honestly wasn't too bothered about it. And then you get to the parts that are the most interesting, the last 3 matches. So Bayley comes out, talks whatever trash he wants to talk. Bailey as well, who's another one who is clearly very talented, but her storylines since WrestleMania have been so boring. I'm sorry, but Sasha, I like Sasha as well, but the whole Sasha Bailey storyline, they've just dragged it out way too long. They clearly wanted one of them to turn on the other one, which they were building to, but they took so long to do it. They finally did it, which is good, and when they did it, it was good, right? It was good, but they took way too long. They dragged it on so much, and the storyline just got so boring. They took too long to pull the trigger, but they've done it now, and Asuka came out to challenge Bailey, and Bailey got herself disqualified, and then Sasha came along, still injured, and she attacked Bailey, and yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Not much of a match there, but it was good to see they're advancing this rivalry, because it's been long overdue that we got a proper rivalry between Sasha and Bailey on the main roster, that's for sure. And then you got Drew v. Orton. This was quite interesting, because I did not expect it to go the way that it did. I expected a Drew win, but in terms of like Big Show, Christian, Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair coming back in the match, that was pretty cool. I like that, because Orton punted all of them. Big Show choked them in through a table, turned up at Clash of Champions. HBK Street Chin musicked him on top of the ambulance. Christian beat him up backstage. Ric Flair drove the ambulance away. That was funny. It was funny more than anything, but it worked for the story, I think, because Orton took them out and they came back and got their revenge when it hurt the most. So I think he executed quite well, that's for sure. I kind of do want to see Orton win the title, but I'm glad they didn't have him win it. Not for now anyway, because I wanted Drew to have a long title reign. And he's had a decent one now, so honestly, I am content with how far he's gone with his title reign. And he's had, I mentioned before, he needs a proper rivalry, like, that goes on for a few months. He's had that with Orton, and it might continue more as well, but I mentioned how his title reign needed a good rivalry, and he had one with Orton, a really good rivalry as well. It's been great storytelling, and he's had that. So if he loses the title next pay-per-view, I wouldn't be too mad about it, because I think he's had a good run. But if he does lose it, I hope it's someone worthy. It could be Orton after all this time, but it could be someone else. But I hope it's in a good storyline, that's for sure. And then Roman Reigns versus J Uso. This, I think, storyline wise, was really good as well. Really good. The way it ended was different. It was unique, but it worked. It worked for what they were going for. They've really sold Roman as a heel. They really have. And they used this match. Like, I never expected Jay to win. Like, usually when it's predictable, it's not as good. But even though you knew Roman was going to win, the way it was done, the way the story was told, I think was really good in that match. I think that was brilliant what they did. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Clash of Champions, and my brief thoughts, I guess, on the other two pay-per-views. I'll probably make a video on NXT 31. I don't think... Actually, I think I am off on Sunday. So I think Saturday night I'll be able to watch it. I might stream live. I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe if I can, I will. But if not, I'll make a video about it, because I'm excited to see. NXT for me is the best brand in terms of like consistency. Raw and SmackDown have their good moments, like, you know, heel Roman, Drew McIntyre, heel Orton, you know, the Fiend as well. There's some great things on Raw and SmackDown, but NXT for me is where it's at. That is where it's most consistently good. There's always something good on every episode, whereas Raw and SmackDown, some weeks is just so bad. But NXT every week, I think there's always something really good about it. So I'm looking forward to TakeOver, that's for sure. And I have a bad feeling about a certain group. I'm not going to say anything else, actually. You know what? Let's just leave it there. So yeah, as a rating, Clash of Champions was an 8, mainly for the last two matches, but it was an 8. Payback was 7, SummerSlam 7. They all had some great matches, but most of the matches, I think, were not that great. But I think Clash of Champions has been better than the last two pay-per-views, so that's for sure. Survivor Series, I think, is next month. I cannot wait for that. I'm off work most of November, so I'm looking forward to watching that. That's going to be so good. I've always loved the concept of elimination tag. Like that's one of my favorite types of matches in WWE. I think Royal Rumble, elimination tag, and elimination chamber. Those are my favorite WWE matches. Those are just so entertaining. So entertaining. I just love the format of it and everything. Anyway, yeah, this is your boy Davidoff. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and see ya.